Have you ever wondered what happens when one company gets too big and starts owning too many popular apps? That's exactly what is happening with Meta, the company that owns Facebook, Instagram, and WhatsApp. Today, we're going to explore why Meta is facing legal trouble, what antitrust laws are, and what this all means for you and me. So, without wasting any time, let's start the video right away. What is Meta and why is it so important? Meta is a huge tech company based in the United States. You probably know it better as Facebook Incorporated, its old name. Meta owns some of the world's most used social media platforms, including Facebook, a platform where people connect, share posts, and chat. Instagram, an app focused on sharing photos and videos. WhatsApp, a messaging app that lets people chat and make calls. Meta has billions of users across these platforms. Because of this, it holds a lot of power in the world of technology and social media. But that power is now under serious question. What are antitrust laws? To understand the problem, we need to know what antitrust laws are. These laws are designed to keep businesses fair and competitive. They prevent one company from becoming too powerful or crushing smaller competitors unfairly. In simple words, antitrust laws stop companies from becoming monopolies. A monopoly happens when a company has no real competitors, and people are almost forced to use its products because there's no other choice. Governments use antitrust laws to make sure businesses play fair and that customers still have choices. What is Meta accused of? Meta is now facing a big trial in the United States because the government believes it broke antitrust laws. The main issue is Meta's past purchases of Instagram and WhatsApp. Let's look at what happened. In 2012, Facebook, now Meta, bought Instagram for about $1 billion. In 2014, it bought WhatsApp for around $19 billion. At the time, these deals were approved by the government. But now, US regulators, including the Federal Trade Commission, FTC, say that those deals were a mistake. They believe that Meta bought these companies just to crush competition and become too powerful in the social media space. Why did Meta buy Instagram and WhatsApp? Back in the early 2010s, Facebook was the top social media platform. But it started to see new apps like Instagram and WhatsApp growing fast. Many people think that Facebook bought them to eliminate future threats. If Instagram and WhatsApp had stayed independent, they might have become big enough to challenge Facebook. So by buying them early, Meta could control the future of social media. The FTC now says that this was not just smart business, it was unfair to other companies and bad for users. What is the trial about? The trial is about whether Meta's purchases of Instagram and WhatsApp were harmful to competition. The government wants to undo those deals, which means forcing Meta to sell Instagram and WhatsApp. That's a big deal. Imagine if Instagram and WhatsApp were no longer part of Meta. They would become independent companies again. This could change how we use social media apps. Meta's side of the story. Meta strongly disagrees with the claims made by the US government and the Federal Trade Commission, FTC. The company believes that it has done nothing wrong and that buying Instagram and WhatsApp was completely legal and beneficial for users. Here's how Meta explains its side of the story. 1. The deals were approved years ago. Meta points out that when it bought Instagram in 2012 and WhatsApp in 2014, the US government already approved both deals. At that time, there were no objections. So, Meta argues, it's unfair to suddenly say now, after so many years, that those purchases were wrong. Meta's lawyers say this would be like someone buying a house with permission, living in it for 10 years, and then being told, you have to give it back. 2. Instagram and WhatsApp got better after the acquisition. Meta claims that both Instagram and WhatsApp improved a lot after becoming part of Meta. The company says it invested heavily in these apps by adding new features like stories, reels, and better messaging, making the apps more stable and secure, growing the platforms so more people around the world could use them. According to Meta, Instagram was a small team of around 13 people before it was bought. Under Meta, it became a platform with over 1 billion users. Meta says that without its help, Instagram and WhatsApp might not be as successful as they are today. 3. There's still plenty of competition. Meta also argues that it's not a monopoly because there are still many other apps competing in the market. For example, TikTok has become hugely popular, especially among young people. Snapchat continues to grow with fun camera and messaging features. YouTube, X, formerly Twitter, and other platforms also compete for users' attention. Meta says users have more choices than ever before, and that the idea that Meta controls everything is not true. 4. Breaking up. Meta will hurt everyone. Meta warns that if the court forces the company to sell Instagram and WhatsApp, it will harm businesses, users, and innovation. Here's why. Businesses that use all 3 platforms to advertise might face higher costs and more complexity. Users might lose features that only exist because of how the apps are connected, like cross-posting stories between Instagram and Facebook. Developers and engineers might find it harder to work on these platforms if they are split up, making it tougher to roll out new features quickly. Meta believes this kind of breakup would set a dangerous example and make it harder for companies to invest in future innovation. 5. Innovation, not elimination. One of Meta's biggest points is that it didn't buy Instagram and WhatsApp to kill competition, but to help those companies grow. Meta says it gave these smaller companies the tools, money, and knowledge they needed to become global platforms. In Meta's view, this is how innovation works in the tech industry. Big companies support smaller startups, and everyone benefits. The company believes this is a normal and healthy part of the business world. Why does this matter to you? You might be wondering, how does this affect me? Good question. Here are a few ways this trial could impact everyday people. 1. More choices. If Meta is forced to sell Instagram and WhatsApp, we might see more competition. That could lead to better features, more privacy options, and maybe even new apps. 2. Better privacy. Critics say Meta collects a lot of data from users across its platforms. If these apps are separated, your data might be more secure. 3. New rules for big tech. This trial could lead to stricter rules for all big tech companies like Google, Amazon, and Apple. It could be the start of a new way to manage how tech giants grow and operate. What could happen next? The trial is still going on, and it might take a long time before we get a final answer. There are a few possible outcomes. 1. Meta wins the case. If the court agrees with Meta, the company will keep owning Instagram and WhatsApp. 2. FTC wins the case. Meta could be forced to sell both apps, which would be one of the biggest decisions in tech history. 3rd settlement. Both sides might agree to a deal outside of court, with Meta making some changes but still keeping the apps. Whatever happens, the decision will set a major example for how we treat powerful tech companies in the future. What are people saying? Different people have different opinions on the trial. Supporters of the FTC say that Meta has too much power and that breaking it up would help smaller companies and protect user rights. Supporters of Meta say that the company hasn't done anything wrong and is being punished for its success. Some experts also worry that undoing old deals could scare other businesses. If companies think their approved purchases can be taken back years later, they might stop investing and growing. A turning point for big tech. Now governments are starting to push back. They are saying, enough is enough. They want to protect consumers, support small businesses, and make sure the internet stays open and fair. Final thoughts. The trial against Meta is one of the biggest tech cases of our time. It raises important questions about competition, fairness, and the future of the internet. No matter what the result is, it will affect how we use social media and how tech companies operate in the future. So next time you open Instagram or message someone on WhatsApp, remember, the apps you use every day are part of a much bigger story. A story about power, control, and what's best for all of us in the digital world.